Joining me now to put these tragedies in some perspective, if that's possible, is John Iannarelli, the FBI's former national spokesperson and someone who has studied at length and depth domestic terrorism. John, now in all of the research you've done over all these years, have you seen an increase in these mass shootings?
Actually, I've seen over the past few years, the numbers have actually been much less than we'd seen in previous years. For example, under the Obama administration, depending upon how you're defining these deadly shootings, we've had as many as 32 shooting incidents during his 8 years of presidency.
Well, John, to listen to the coverage, much of it is politically tainted. But you would think that America is more violent than it was 20 years ago, and that we have, we have a gun culture, we have a gun nut population that is just literally tossing guns to deranged people who have political access to grind. And why do you think every tragedy, it takes the life of someone. So, it's like you can't one-up tragedies. They're all tragedies. But things have actually gotten better, but the media coverage has gotten, what, worse? Less perspective?
Well, there's politicians out there, as you can clearly see, that are taking advantage of this tragedy. I have seen situations. I was at Mandalay Bay when the shooting happened there, and people wanted to talk about gun control while there were still victims on the ground. It's absolutely ridiculous. The reality is we have had shootings under every single presidential administration, documenting back to Johnson administration. It's not about who's in office. It's about the other issues that we need to address. And people who are using it to get votes, it's reprehensible.
And, John, one of your former FBI colleagues equated Trump's immigration rhetoric to this.
There's an eerie similarity between what we're seeing with white hate radicalization and Islamic violent extremist radicalization to jihad. And they see in the president a mentor or a similar figure to that type of Muslim cleric that calls people to violence and jihad.
Okay, John, so supporting strong borders is the same as calling for violent jihad in the United States.
You know, it's funny. I worked the Oklahoma City bombing back in the 90s when President Clinton was in office, and we had all these white militias that were doing all sorts of things. The reality is evil is out there in the world. People are busy trying to pin it on one political party or another so that they can benefit with votes, instead of tackling the actual problem. I wish Congress would do something rather than trying to impeach a president or get votes for their side, and really look at what these issues are in our country. Otherwise, it's just going to continue.
All right, John, thanks for your expertise tonight.